guys, so I am back with a video for you. I know that it's been a while, and as you can see, I am in my new location. I had some trouble figuring out a place to record videos, so I'm just kind of in my living room here. I've got my TV and our photo wall behind me, so if it's a little distracting, I am sorry. I will try to figure out something a little bit better, but if not, this might be my new backdrop. So I thought I'd kind of ease back into wedding videos with a more fun topic, which is wedding day nail polish. Not necessarily the most important decision when it comes to wedding planning, but you can have a little bit of fun with it. So I thought I would just kind of give you my opinions on this topic, as well as kind of show you some colors that I personally own that I think would be kind of fun to wear on your wedding day. I have all kinds of colors. I have a pretty sizable nail polish collection, so I had quite a few colors to choose from, so I kind of picked some things as far as like light pinks, and then going into some colors and some dark muted colors, and then some reds. So I figured I'd just show you which shades that I have that would be fun to wear on your wedding day, and also name some shades that I also know of that I've seen in person, just, you know, from like friends owning it or pictures on websites and stuff that I think would be really good suggestions for you as well. I just didn't want to go out and buy a bunch of new nail polishes just for the sake of this video when I know that I already have so many here on my own. So I'm going to just go ahead and get started, so I hope that you guys have fun with this one. Okay, so one of the questions that I will sometimes get asked from my clients is, what are your opinions on French manicures? I don't want to say that I'm against French manicures. I'm probably just not the biggest fan of them. I think it's really easy to make them look dated and a little bit too traditional, especially if you're a younger bride. It might be something that you'll want to stay away from. Nothing against them. Like I said, I think if your fingernails are a little bit on the shorter side and they're really well done, they can look really classy and elegant. I'm definitely more of a fan, though, of just one solid color on your fingernails. So that's kind of why I'm going to go through a bunch of colors for you today. I will say that some of these colors are going to be a little bit less traditional. I think that with nail polish on your wedding day, if you are more of a traditional bride but you want to have a little bit of fun with something on your wedding day, nail polish is kind of a fun way to do it, because it's not going to be really noticeable, but if people are looking at you close up, they'll definitely be able to see it. And if you take like detail shots of your bouquet, like if you're just like holding your bouquet, your nail polish will kind of poke through a little bit. So it's just kind of a really easy way to play with color if you want the rest of you to be pretty traditional and muted on that day. So I did pick some bright colors. Obviously, not everyone's going to agree with all of these colors being appropriate for your wedding day, but like I said, if you're looking to have some fun with color, there are some really nice ones in here that I've picked out. I've also picked out quite a few neutrals as well. So I will just start off by saying I was a very untraditional bride myself. I wore a short dress. My bouquet and the colors that we had were like plum purple and spice orange. They were not, you know, soft muted wedding colors. My signature color in the fall winter is OPI's Lincoln Park After Dark, which is this one right here. And this is actually the color that I wore on my wedding day. So obviously you can tell that I'm all about wearing different colors on your nails. But yeah, this is what I wore on my wedding day. It was a fall wedding. It just was a very me color. If I had worn like a white or a light pink, it wouldn't have felt like me. So I went with that. You could barely see it in photos, but it was just like a nice little pop of color. So that said, let me go ahead and start with the neutrals that I own that I personally suggest. I will say up front that there are a few colors that I don't personally own that I think would make great recommendations for you if you're looking for light pink colors. Those would be Essie's Fiji and Essie's French Affair. You can just Google those, and I will also link some pictures down below for you. Those are beautiful, beautiful colors, and they're really easy to find just by going to Target or like any beauty supply store. They're in the regular permanent collection. If you're looking for just a plain white color, that's also pretty easy to find, and I'd recommend Essie's Marshmallow for that. I do have a lot of Essie nail polishes. That happens to be my favorite brand of nail polishes, so you're going to see a lot of those, but I did try to incorporate some drugstore products in here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Essie's Topless and Barefoot, which looks like this. It is just a really nice muted nude color. So it probably looks a little bit better on a medium to darker skin tones. I have fair skin though, and I can pull this off. This is one of my favorite neutral colors. I love wearing this all year round. I especially wear it for when I'm working weddings and it's a more formal affair and I don't really feel like I'm getting away with like this color on my nails. Great color. It really makes your fingers just look a little bit longer, just because it's going to kind of match the color of your skin tone, but it's also going to pop at the same time. So it's not going to be like all one color like you have mannequin hands or something. So that's a really great one. I do like that one. The next is kind of a cult favorite by Essie called Ballet Slippers, which looks like this one. It's just a little bit more light and pink and crisp than Topless and Barefoot. So here's Topless and Barefoot and here's Ballet Slippers. So they are very similar. But Ballet Slippers is just a little bit more creamy pinky white. Another one of my favorites is one of the 3 Zoya nail polishes that came out with the Touch collection. I happen to have Shea. There was also like a color called Minka or Mink, and then Pandora. I picked this one because it seemed to suit my skin tone the best. Although all 3 of them were very, very similar, so you could definitely just pick one and you don't really need the other 2. This one is more of a nude color on the same lines as Essie's Topless and Barefoot, but it has a little bit of a sheen to it, so it's not glittery, it's not metallic, it's just a little bit shiny. The next one I have is a little bit more of a purpley pink light color, and that is Something Sweet by China Glaze, which looks like this. There is a similar color by OPI called Mod About You. That one's a little bit harder to find though. This one I think is pretty easy to find. I'm not exactly sure on that, but this is just a small little trial size I got in a kit or something. Really pretty color that is great, especially for spring brides that are doing a lot of pastel colors. The next one is by Essie and it's called Eternal Optimist. So it's a little bit more of like a muted pink mauve color. I do like this one a lot as well. I've only worn it a few times, but it's also just very classic and traditional with just adding a little bit of a pink color to your nails. The last pink that I have is also by Essie and it's called Vandigo. Looks like this. This is definitely a pink that you're going to want to pick if you want a little bit brighter of a nail. So if, like, for example, if you compare it to Eternal Optimist, it's a lot more bright. So it's definitely really pretty. I love this color. I get so many compliments on this color when I wear it. People have stopped me on the street to actually ask me what this is. So moving on to more colors that are still kind of on the light side, these are the colors that I'd recommend that if you kind of want to play up a little bit more with color, but you don't necessarily want to do like a pink, you want to be a little bit more untraditional, I definitely start to recommend these for you. So the first one I'm going to talk about is also by Essie, and it's called Nice is Nice. It came out with their French Affair collection. So that color that I was talking about earlier that I don't have, that's called French Affair, it's like a light pink color. This came out with that same collection. It's just a light lilac color. It's really pretty. It's very easy to wear. There are tons of colors out there. I think there's also a color by Essie called Lilacism, and they're both very similar. So if you can't find that one, there are tons of lilac colors out there to choose from. I think Revlon also makes a few. And speaking of Revlon, I love this color from Revlon called Cloud, and this you can easily find at the drugstore. This is especially pretty for bridesmaids as well, if they're wearing like gray dresses or something. I know that gray is kind of a trend right now for bridesmaids dresses, and you're doing like a lot of pastel-y colors. This would be so, so pretty. I really do love this color. I also get a lot of compliments on this color when I wear it. The next one is probably going to be the brightest of this collection. It is also by Essie, and it is called Bikini So Teeny. This just came out with a new summer collection that they put out. It's definitely a bright periwinkle blue. I've been wearing this up until just now recently, actually, nonstop on my toes as well as my fingernails. It's just so pretty. There is another color by Essie called Borrowed in Blue from one of their wedding collections, and that is a true baby blue color, like a powder blue. This one's just a little bit more, I guess just a little bit more amplified and a little bit more periwinkle, I would definitely say. But this is really pretty. This one's definitely one of my favorites. I have 3 colors here that are very similar, and they're all really inexpensive, and they all kind of fall into the mint green category. So the first one is Minted by Revlon. Looks like this. This is probably my favorite of these 3. The application is really great on this one. It's a beautiful color. There are so many high-end nail polishes that came out with minty greens, but for some reason I just think that this one is the best, and it's really inexpensive at the drugstore. Mint green is such a cool color to wear on your wedding day, I think. I think it goes with everything. It's an unexpected pop of color, and I don't know, I just think it looks really pretty on nails. So I really love mint green. One that's very similar is by China Glaze, and it's called Refreshment. I have, again, just a little trial size I got in a kit with the other one. And I mean, they're almost identical. I don't even know why I have both, to be honest with you. And then I also have one from Wet n Wild, and this is called I Need a Refreshment. So they're all kind of the same name. This is more of a Tiffany blue color. It's still really pretty, so if you want to do something that was a little bit more on the blue side, so if you compare all 3 of these together, You can see that this one's a little bit more blue and these two are a little bit more green. Okay, so moving on to darker colors and red colors. This is obviously not going to be for everyone, but if you are perhaps maybe like a fall or winter bride and you wanted to do something really untraditional, I do have some suggestions for you. So the first one is a brown taupey color, and it's by Essie as well, and it's called Mink Muffs. This is one of my favorite colors to wear in the fall and winter. There is a color, if you're looking to splurge, there is a color by Chanel. It's called Particulier. It's a color that I have wanted for so long. It's supposed to be very similar to this, but a little bit on the lighter, cooler side. So I've been debating getting it for about a year now, and I just have not been able to make up my mind. But if you're looking to splurge on something for yourself as like a wedding day memento, a Chanel nail polish is always a really good way to go. They're a little bit ridiculously expensive, but sometimes it's worth it to splurge a little bit on something. But this is a beautiful, beautiful color, especially if you're going to be wearing, for example, like a beigey color dress and you're not necessarily going for the traditional ivory or white, and you're wearing lots of autumnal colors like reds and oranges and stuff. This would look so pretty up against a bouquet of those same colors. So this is a really pretty color. It actually is going to look a lot more neutral than you think on your nails, and it's going to blend in really nicely. So while it looks scary and dark, it's actually a really lovely color. The next one is a steel gray color. I think it's actually called steel gray. Yeah, it is. It's steel gray by Rimmel. And this is another color that I wear a lot in the spring and summer. There is a color by, I think it's Essie, called Merino Cool, which is very similar to this. You can also get a similar color in the Sephora by OPI nail polishes called Metro Chic. That's also very similar to this. So you have a few different options if you can't find one or the other. This is a great color, again, for bridesmaids as well with that gray dress. I think this would look really nice up against it if you're doing like a lighter gray dress and then these like darker gray nails. That would look really pretty. So I only have two more. I have two reds for you. They're actually both by OPI. The first one is Chick Flick Cherry, which is a favorite of mine that I wear a lot in the summer. I was actually wearing this color when my husband proposed to me. So I kind of have a soft place in my heart for this particular color. So I love Chick Flick Cherry. It's really pretty. It's just a straight up cherry color. It looks a little bit more bright on your nails, but it's also very classy and timeless. So if you're looking to do a red nail, but you don't want to go with a really, really harsh, bright red, that's a really good one. And then the last one I have is more of a bright red, like a siren red, and that is Big Apple Red by OPI, which looks like this. So I'll just put them like side by side so you can see the Chick Flick Cherry is a little bit darker, like more burgundy, and this one is really red. OPI has another red color called Vodka and Caviar, which came out with their like Russian themed collection a few years back. That is supposed to be very similar to Big Apple Red. So if you are looking for a different alternative and you for some reason can't find this one, Vodka and Caviar is also very easy to get. Big Apple Red should also be very easy to get though, so you shouldn't have any issues. So that is pretty much it, guys. I hope that you had a little bit of fun with this video. If you have any questions, let me know. And like I said before, I will put links to pictures of the colors that I don't own that I mentioned down below, so you can kind of check those out as well and kind of compare everything. And I guess I'll just leave it there. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you back here soon. Bye!